Hi guys, this is Anthony Bongiorno. I'm your English 111 instructor, and what I'm going to do today is just briefly walk you through week two. So let me just share my screen and show you what our Blackboard page looks like for this week. Okay, so you're going to head to our Blackboard course. You are going to click on weekly lessons here on the left and open up week two. So this is our second week, and we are getting into our first major unit of the semester, which is personal narrative. So this is our welcome message. So I've provided you guys here with some basic information about our unit. So I'm just going to read it to you. And it goes like this. This week we will be getting into personal narrative, our first of 3 units. In a personal narrative, the writer uses the first person point of view and relays a meaningful experience from his or her life. Authors of personal narratives usually write their pieces with a specific purpose and audience in mind. The author's purpose may range from simple self-expression to social action, and the intended audience from interpersonal to public. Every time you tell a story about yourself, you're using the personal narrative genre. When you tell a friend or significant other about your day, your purpose is to simply relay your experience, and your audience is someone whom you're close with. On the other hand, let's say you are asked to prepare a talk for a large audience about a life-changing experience, your purpose and audience would change dramatically. In both circumstances, you're using personal narrative. But you would have to adjust many facets of your communication, such as tone, word choice, pacing, and volume, in order to suit one purpose and audience versus the other. Throughout this unit, we will be studying personal narratives that deal with the power of language, going along with the theme of our course, which is language. We will begin with Coming to an Awareness of Language by Malcolm X, which can be found in your textbook, pages 67 to 69, and The Day Language Came Into My Life by Helen Keller, which can be found in your textbook on page 72, and it ends on page 75. So as a courtesy to those who may not have received their textbook yet, like maybe you ordered it and it hasn't arrived yet from the bookstore, from Amazon, or from wherever, I've provided you with the readings for this week. I'm only going to do this week. So please make sure you're getting that textbook. You really need it for the course. And if you've not yet placed your order or figured out what your plan is for getting the textbook, just remember it's imperative that you get a copy of the textbook. And remember, I don't mind if it's digital. I don't care if it's used, as long as it's language awareness 12th edition, okay? So our study of these essays will be two-pronged. So we're looking at these essays and analyzing them using 2 lenses, okay? So first, we're going to examine each piece for its content, and then we're going to examine each piece for its craft. So in other words, we're going to talk about and examine and write about what the authors are saying, while also making sure that we as writers are paying attention to how they say it. And the end goal here is that by the end of this unit, each one of you guys will be writing your own personal narrative about the power of language. So for this week, I want you to work on the activities that go along with these first 2 readings. As usual, I want you to work from top down. So I've laid everything out in the order in which you should be working, okay? So today is the first day of week 2. It's Wednesday. We always start on a Wednesday, and we end on Tuesday evening. So all of this stuff is due by next Tuesday, September 8th, at the end of the day. So 11:59 p.m., I guess. So let me just scroll down and show you the rest of what week 2 looks like. So I've again provided you with the 2 readings. So there's the reading by Malcolm X and the reading by Helen Keller. So you can just copy and paste those links into your browser. Then I also want you to watch this speech by former President Barack Obama. It has a lot to do with our course theme and our topic for this week. This speech is informally referred to as "Don't Tell Me Words Don't Matter." It's considered to be one of the most successful speeches of his early candidacy. So just to provide you some context, I'm going to read through what I wrote here, and then I have a very important note that I want you guys to pay attention to. So the speech was given in 2008 by Barack Obama, who at the time was a senator from Illinois. And this was a speech given during the Democratic presidential primary. So he was running against a few other Democrats who were running for the nomination for president. And his biggest rival at the time was Hillary Clinton, who at the time was a senator from New York. So it was senator versus senator. The race at the time is very intense and very, very close. So I believe Hillary won the first state. She came in first in Iowa, and then the following week New Hampshire voted, and Barack came first and she came second. So they were kind of like neck and neck for a long time. So as we know now, because it's 2020 and we've lived through the history, we know that he would get the nomination. We know that he would go on to win against John McCain, and he would become president and win a second term. We also know that he and Hillary would become, no, I mean, I don't want to say friends because that's all conjecture, but they had a close working relationship. He ended up making her his Secretary of State in his administration. He ended up supporting her and campaigning for her when she ran for president in 2016. Obviously, she did not win that race. But anyway, at the time that this speech was given, this was kind of directed at her campaign because she had, or not necessarily she, but her campaign, in their attempt to gain ground and to pull ahead of Barack, said that or implied that he was relying too heavily on rhetoric and public speaking and words rather than on experience and action, okay? So he gives this speech here where he basically says, his thesis is "Don't tell me words don't matter," and he repeats that refrain throughout the speech. And he's arguing for the power of words and the power of language, okay? So it's a really interesting speech. It has a lot to do with our purpose for today. But here's my note. So I know that we're in an election year. I know that 2020 is a year of, unfortunately, a lot of division politically. So I want you to know that I want you guys to engage with all the pieces that I assign. And I understand that there are going to be differences of opinion. So I want you to focus on the ideas rather than the politics. So whether you love Obama, whether you hate Obama, whether you are not following politics at all of that is fine. I just want you to come to this piece with a little bit of objectivity and focus on the ideas and how it relates to our course rather than the man himself. So in your posts, in your discussion boards, please avoid any overt political endorsements or whom people should vote for, or any of that stuff. We're just focusing on the ideas, and I'm trying to present you with a balanced view. And just so you know, as the semester goes on, we'll see and hear pieces written by people all over the political spectrum. So people who are, liberal, conservative, whatever. I'm going to be presenting you with powerful pieces from all sorts of figures who have all sorts of views, lots of which are in conflict with one another. So that's my little warning here. Not a warning, but please be cognizant of that. I want us to obviously engage politically, but if you want to, but this isn't a political course. This is about the speech, and this is about the writing and the ideas. Okay. I hope I made that clear. So then after you read those two essays and watch and listen to that speech, You have Writer's Notebook week 2 and the discussion board for week 2. So let me just show you exactly what you're going to do for your Writer's Notebook. By clicking week 2, we'll see the assignment. So in roughly 300 to 500 words. So I gave you a word count since you're submitting it right through Blackboard rather than a page count. So this 300 to 500 words equates to like roughly 1.5 to 2.5 pages, double spaced, which is not really a lot. Write a response to the 2 essays assigned for this week. In your response, you should do the following. Summarize, meaning briefly recap the central thesis, which is the major idea of each piece and events of each narrative, and respond. So discuss how effective each piece is and cite specific evidence to support your analysis. Consider, the following questions. Do you find the pieces strongly written? How so? Did anything stick with you, either positively or negatively? What was it? Is there any room for improvement? Explain. Do either of these pieces remind you of your own life, the life of someone else you know, or someone you have read or learned about? So that's your Writer's Notebook for week 2. It's just on those 2 narratives that we are reading. The week 3, I'm ahead of myself. The week 2 discussion discussion board is on the power of language. So let me, go back here. Power of language. Okay, go to the discussion board. I'll fix that. Okay, here's Power of Language, week 2. Think about the messages of the pieces by Malcolm X, Helen Keller, and Barack Obama. They all argue for the power of language, each in their own way. For this discussion, pick up any or all of the following questions. Write a post of at least 150 words and respond to 2 of your classmates' posts in at least 50 words. I encourage you to return to the week 1 post to further get to know your classmates. For your part, consider ending your post with a question or 2 of your own to help the discussion continue to flow. So these are the discussion prompts. You can respond to 1, 2, all, come up with your own for any of these. Think of these as just like a springboard to get the discussion going. So these questions are: how important is language to you? Can you think of a time when certain words had a great effect on you, and how? How does your language change throughout the day, depending on your purpose and your audience? And is there a right way to speak and a wrong way? So that is week 2. Just a reminder that I will be holding office hours tonight between 6 and 8 on Zoom. I will provide you with that link in my announcements for the week. And so you'll be receiving that in an email. And that's about it. Have a great week.